When I was 7 years old, I overheard my mother tell one of her friends that the following day was going to be her 30th birthday. Two things occurred to me when I heard that. Number one, I didn't know my mother had a birthday. Number two, I had no recollection of her ever getting a birthday present. She for sure had never gotten one from me, but I could do something about that. I went into my room. I opened up my piggy bank. I took out 5 nickels. That represented 5 weeks worth of my allowance. And I took those 5 nickels to the little store that was around the corner from my house, and I told the proprietor, Mr. Sawyer, that I wanted to buy a birthday present for my mama. Well, he showed me everything that could be had in his little store for a quarter. Now, there were lots of those little ceramic figurines, and my mother already had a whole house full of those. And I was the one that had to dust them every week, so I said no. Then he showed me some little boxes of chocolate candy. My mother had sugar diabetes, so I knew that that would not be appropriate. The last thing that he showed me was a package of bobby pins. Now, my mother had beautiful, long, dark hair. And every Saturday night she would wash it, and she would pin curl it, and when she took her hair down the next day, she would look just like a movie star with those dark curls cascading around her shoulders. So I decided that those bobby pins would be the perfect gift. I gave Mr. Sawyer my 5 nickels. He gave me the bobby pins. I took them home. And of course, I had not set aside money for wrapping paper. So I wrapped them up in a colorful sheet from the Sunday comics. And the next morning, while my family was seated at the breakfast table, I walked over to my mother and I said, "Happy birthday, Mama." Well, she just sat there for a minute in stunned silence. Then she started tearing at that newspaper wrapping, and as she did, tears slid down her cheeks. By the time she got to the bobby pins, she was bawling like a little baby. And I said, "Oh, Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. I just wanted you to have happy birthdays, all." And she looked back at me, and I could see that she was smiling through those tears. And she said, "Oh, honey, this is a happy birthday. In fact, this is the happiest birthday I have ever had. Why, do you know that this is the best birthday present I have ever gotten in my entire life?" And then she kissed me on the cheek and she said, "Thank you, honey." She walked over to my sister and said, "Look at here. Linda got me a birthday present." She walked over to my brothers and said, "Look at here. Linda got me a birthday present." She walked over to my daddy and said, "Look at here. Linda got me a birthday present." And then she went into the bathroom to wash her hair and curl it with those new bobby pins. After she had left the room, my father looked at me and he said, "You know, Linda, when I was a youngin' back on the frontier, we didn't set much store by giving birthday presents to adults. That is something done just for little youngins. And your mama's family, now they was so poor, they didn't even do that much. But seeing how happy you done made your mama today, well, it's kind of made me rethink this whole birthday issue. What I'm trying to say here, Linda, is I think you've set a precedent." And I did set a precedent. After that, my mother was showered with birthday presents every year. And of course, the older I got, the more money I made, the better birthday present I gave her. On her 50th birthday, my brothers and my sister and I pooled our resources to get her something spectacular. A ring set with the pearls surrounded by a cluster of diamonds. And when my brother handed her the velvet gift box at the party that was given in her honor, she opened it up and she smiled. And then she turned that box around so that her guests could see the ring inside, and she said, "Don't I have wonderful children?" And then she passed that ring around the room. And it was thrilling to hear the collective gasp that rippled through that room as that ring went from hand to hand. After the guests were gone, I stayed to help clean up, and as I was washing dishes, I overheard my mother and father talking in the next room. Daddy was saying, "Well, Pauline, that's a mighty pretty ring you got there. Reckon that's about the best birthday present you've ever got." My own eyes filled with tears when I heard her reply. Now, Ted, this ring is mighty pretty, and that's a fact. But the best birthday present I ever got, that was a package of bobby pins.
Oh, that's wonderful.